All right, everybody, welcome to Versus Live here. My name's Corey Baumeister.
I'm Ross Merriam.
All right, and we got Rob in the booth to answer any of your questions, and we got his Shoes today. So say hi, Rob and Shoes.
Hi, Rob and Shoes.
All right, everybody, we are going to be continuing to play a little bit of Throne of Eldraine Standard, getting into some of the decks that we saw from the streamer event that was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Got a lot of cool ideas, different decks that maybe we didn't even think of in our couple weeks of testing Standard. We're going to test some of those out, as well as before we start, everybody, head over to carnox.com/SCG if you want to pick up one of our chairs. You can get 10% off with one of those as well. So what are we playing right here? What deck you got to the table?
So we got a lot of cards that are receiving a good amount of hype as a result of the streamer event, cards that really performed well for people during the early testing. And one of them is Fires of Invention.
Yes.
I played a 5-color Fires of Invention deck on Tuesday. The cards seemed powerful. That deck had some issues, as most 5-color decks do.
Yeah.
So this is a more streamlined, straightforward build around Fires of Invention. It is a Gruul ramp deck at its core, and the thing that I noticed is that you always want to have something to do with your mana, because once Fires of Invention is on the battlefield, you're usually not tapping your mana to cast spells.
Yeah.
You have the option to, but you're usually not doing it.
Yeah.
So you really want to be casting cards that give you sinks for that mana. So I've got Cavalier of Flame, which is a pretty common one that we've seen because it also can lead to some combo kills by playing 2 big creatures and giving them both haste. But I also have Biogenic Ooze, I have Living Twister, just plenty of ways to use my mana while I'm casting a ton of spells off of Fires of Invention. And, outside of that, it's really just a Gruul midrange deck. We got good efficient creatures. Wildborn Preserver is another good mana sink.
Okay.
And then some removal. So nothing too complicated, but really every card is chosen to maximize that power of Fires of Invention.
So you want to be drawing that card. And
Yes.
drawing it often. Yeah, I played a little Fire of Inventions deck during the streamer event. I played it in a Jeskai Planeswalker shell and just used 3 Mobilized District to use as my mana sink and then just play, Narset and Sarkhan on a turn or something like that. Wasn't exactly the shell for it. There was a few problems, but I like the looks of your deck. What I'm going to be playing, I'm playing a Rakdos Aggro deck brought to us by Andrea Mangucci. He just went on a hot streak with the deck. He went something like 10-11-0 with it.
Yeah.
And it looks real. It's just very good red-black creatures that can stand alone. So a lot of the red-black aggros decks that we've had have had bad cards like Footlight Fiend or just other very weak black-red creatures that really work insanely well with Priest of the Forgotten Gods, work really well. Even the mono-black shell that works great with the Ayara. That works well with that. But what we're doing here is just good creatures, jamming them together. We have good removal in the form of Murderous Rider and Bone Crusher Giant, and just trying to play similar to what Standard was at 8-set Standard, just a good black-red deck. Now, we don't have Scrap Heap Scrounger, we don't have Bomat, we don't have Chandra, but we got some good tools. We got Rotting Regisaur as just a good big body.
Yeah.
We're going to see you kind of abuse Rotting Regisaur in our second match, but we'll leave that surprise for now. But I think we're just going to get into the games here. We got a lot to play. Ross did rob me of my marbles this Tuesday, so I will be going first.
Going first with an aggro deck sounds good.
I think it's a good plan, so let's get into it.
Nothing fancy going on with these 2 decks.
Yeah,
and that's generally what happens. During preview season, we tried all these cool cards and cool synergies, and eventually we're just like, okay, what are the good cards? Let's play them.
Exactly.
Let's not overthink it.
Exactly, and I think that's a good lesson too, as far as just week 1 Standard at a bigger tournament. Don't be too fancy. Attack people, and just play the good Magic cards. All right, so if we take a look at my hand, we get a good ratio of lands to spells. We got some cool new cards that I'm excited to try. I think this is a great hand. I'm going to keep.
Yeah, mine is also great. We have a very natural curve here.
All right, well, bring it on. Take one, Raging Goblin.
19.
Your turn.
Okay. Speaking of not getting fancy, here's my 1 copy of Dwarven Mind to recur with the Living Twister. You can go.
Wow, you're getting a little fancy there, bud. You're getting a little too fancy. Okay, so if we look at our hand here, this is a good reason of what to play here. If we notice, we have another mountain next turn, but we only have 1 black source. So I really want to cast one of these black cards just to be mana efficient, and then next turn we can do something like this. So we're going to go like this.
Stormfist Crusader.
Yep, we'll go Stormfist. Attack for 1.
I got 18.
Your turn. Now, this card, at the beginning of upkeep, each player draws a card and loses a life. So, not only is it threatening to kill you, but it's also making sure our curve is going to cooperate with us.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm just going to Lava Coil that.
Whoa, not cool.
And then pass the turn.
Okay.
So leaves me a
fair.
little vulnerable to a Spawn of Mayhem, but but I have other things to do here. Maybe I was supposed to try to cast this instead.
Ooh. Okay. So I'm going to play Robber of the Rich.
Yep.
I'm going to attack you for 3. I believe I have less cards. So yeah, it's face up. Yep. Oh, I can graze you. The best card in Standard.
So I'll take 3, go to 15.
Yep. And I'm going to play Just kidding. I'm going to play a card that actually does something. Your turn. Arboreal Grazer, not that good in a red-black aggro. That is why we didn't include it in this deck list.
2 in hand over there.
2, yep. I only dealt 3 damage, so Knight did not get a counter.
Okay, I think I want to stem the bleeding here, so we're going to go for the Living Twister. I'll pass the turn.
Seems good to me.
Nice little 2/5 body. Should hold back all but the Knight of the Ebon Legion.
Yeah, the Knight is going to still get in there. But yeah, like you said, that was quite a good brick wall here. Now the question is, do I care, and maybe should I still just keep coming in? Doesn't seem great. Actually, I think I am. I really just want to... I have a lot of extra creatures here. I want to just get in and maybe even cast something off the Robber. So we're going to attack. I'm going to target each of these with the Fervent Champions.
Yeah, so they're both 2 power.
Both 2s, yep.
Oh, there you go. There's another
Wow.
I am going to block the Robber of the Rich.
Okay, so take 5.
5 brings me to 10.
Okay. And I can cast these if I want. I'm going to cast a Knight for sure. And then you know what? We're going to get a Grazer in here.
Sure.
End step will trigger these.
Yep.
Your turn.
The 1 mana part seems good in Aggro.
Okay.
The 0-3 part, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, exactly. It is a great aggressive
Wrath of
creature. Wow. Wow.
Is that good? Do I want that?
Wow.
Did I break it?
Wow. Nice one-up blast zone.
I thought so. You told me that card was going to be bad.
I told you not to play it just so this wouldn't happen. Sorry, you're at 11, right?
I'm at 10. I took 5 last time.
Okay. Wow.
So the only haste creatures are just Fervent, Champion, and Robber.
And Robber, yep.
I think I'm going to be winning by miles in the games that I win, and so I just don't want to risk maybe taking an extra 2 damage.
Take 2. Your turn.
That's a problem.
That's a 2-turn clock.
It's only if you're below 10 where it gets a counter, right?
I think it...
Then if you have 10 or less life, yeah.
Okay, well, it's still 2-turn clock.
No, I'm at 10.
Yeah, but it deals us both the damage during the
Oh,
upkeep.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a okay. We figured it out.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine.
Well, it's definitely can be tough. So
Spawn of Mayhem, take us to the promised land.
let's cast Fertile Footsteps.
Okay.
And
That is the 3-mana rampant growth, right?
yep. Then we'll go get a mountain that way, and then we'll play Fabled Passage.
Okay.
And sack the Fabled Passage for a forest.
Okay. So I guess you just need 2 lands, huh?
And
2 lands to be in your hand. All right, Spawn of Mayhem, take me there. God, that Blossom was good. All right.
Cut that. I don't know why Beanstalk Giant doesn't have reach. That seems like an oversight.
A flavor fail.
Yeah. Do I want to attack now? There's no way you're going to block. But now, like, I might be
Haste
under.
creature on the top.
Yeah, I think I just have to commit to leaving this back still.
Trigger.
So I'm at 9. You're at 17.
17. Yep. Okay. Untap. All right, we'll get in there.
I'll go to 5.
Your turn.
Unstep Wildborn Preserver.
Okay. All right, so you can return a land.
That's a good draw.
Uh-oh.
So let's Lava Coil Spawn of Mayhem.
Okay.
Um,
That is pretty solid.
play this tapped.
Okay.
And pass the turn.
All right. Murderous Rider? Or I'll cast Swift End. Top of the deck's been good for me the last 3 turns.
Sure, you go to 15.
Okay. I'll attack.
Actually, I think I should return this since I'm gonna get an
Extra
extra
chump blocker,
1/1 out of it. So yeah, that dies.
'Kay.
You tackle block.
Okay, your turn.
Okay, perfect. So let's get a 1/1.
Okay.
Dwarves, but
It's supposed to be a dwarf, but we'll use me because I'm
You
great.
would.
And then I will play a Biogenic Ooze.
Ooh.
Get a Todd Anderson.
Okay.
You know, the original duo.
Nice, nice.
And then end step, these will get counters. And
All
you can go.
right. No discard. Ooh.
Now I feel pretty good at this point.
Yeah,
I'll
this
jump
is
forward
pretty bad.
Myself, and the Biogenic Ooze should take over. As long
Your
as,
turn.
Yeah, you play that tapped. Sure.
Yep. Yeah, Biogenetic Ooze against the old Rotting Regisaur is quite good.
And 5.
Yeah, we don't have too much reach in this deck, which is unfortunate, so I really have to hope to just beat through with effective creatures. What I really need is like a Spawn of Mayhem here.
Yeah, so I have to think actually about closing this game, which is kind of tough against the Regisaur.
Good old 3-mana 7/6.
So, how am I going to do this?
I would just attack with both, say go, don't make an ooze, and then take 7. That's what I suggest, but...
I think I need to shock myself here.
3.
So I'll go to 3, which
Okay.
is a little scary. But this thing in the air is going to kill me from 5 anyway.
Yep.
So I don't actually think it makes a much difference. I'm going to play a Wildborn Preserver.
Okay.
I'm going to make an ooze.
Okay.
That'll trigger the Preserver. I'll pay 1 with my extra mana.
I like it.
That'll be a 3/3. And then we're definitely not...
Blocking with it.
we're not blocking with this, but if you draw like a removal spell, that could be awkward, but...
Yeah, take a Murderous Rider here.
I guess this is going to be a 3/3, and these are going to become a 4/4. So, yeah, I think attacking with this is fine. Attack for 3.
Okay, I'll take it.
Brings you to 12.
Yep.
End step, my oozes get counters, and you can go.
All right. I'll discard.
Yep.
All right, I'll attack.
And at this point, I think it's good to just double block.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kill him. Your turn. Wearing you down. And you are far away from double oozing. That's what is really backbreaking, but even 1 ooze right now is quite good with Wildborn Preserver, yeah.
Question is whether or not I want to start getting other cards out of my hand.
Yep.
With me having just lost 2 oozes, I think I need to get more creatures down. So why don't I...
Yeah, things are a lot easier on my side. I just draw the card and then I play it.
I think I'm just going to play a Cavalier,
Okay.
get 2 counters on this.
Okay.
So it's a 4/4, and then end step, this gets a counter.
Okay.
Actually, when this enters, I can discard any number of cards. I think I don't want to cast this Escape.
Yeah, it seems like you won't have time.
Yeah, so...
Number of lands in your favorite. Okay.
I have not played a land this turn, so
Okay.
let's get this down, and maybe if we draw a green source next turn, then we can double ooze.
So now this would trade with this, which I don't love. I can't really get Biogenetic Ooze into combat, which I would really like to do. Murderous Rider is essentially doing nothing. Yeah, your turn.
Okay.
Swamp was not a great draw. You really need that spawn. Spawn is what could break this deck wide open, but the window is definitely closing.
So let's play a land. Let's make an ooze. Don't have 6 green, so we'll just put 5 counters on the preserver.
Seems good.
So that gets us to an 8-8, or a 10-10, I mean.
10-10, sure.
And let's... I guess this will force a block out of you if I attack with both. So yeah, let's attack for 16.
Okay. How many lands you got in your graveyard?
2.
So this would deal 2 damage to me if it dies. Okay. We're 1 short of double blocking and killing Preserver if we wanted. I don't even know how great that is. So we do have to block. We could just block here.
And go to 8.
And then, take 4, go to 8. And then... not much we can hope to really draw to win, but we could, we attack. He's probably just going to chump block. And then I'm probably just dead. So I think I have to actually just kill something and hope for spawn. I don't even know if that's the case if I block like this.
Well, you can't just, if you block here, then you have to block here. Because if you just block here, you'll take 10 plus 2 is 12.
Right. Yeah, so maybe I just block. Maybe I just block with both.
So really, this block is kind of forced. The question is whether or not you want to make this one.
The thing is even if I top deck spawn, you can make this big enough next turn where I would have to chump with it. I think I'm just to have 0 outs here.
I agree.
So we'll just block like this.
Okay, so you
I'll
take 4.
Take 4. Yeah.
You to 8.
And this goes on the bottom.
End step. These get some counters.
Okay.
You can go.
Swamp is not it.
Yeah.
That's game.
Don't think there was an out there.
Yeah, really, I mean, what the point where I lost was the blast zone. I mean, 2 Knight of Ebon Legions, we're going to go the distance,
Yeah,
that's a tough card to deal with.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very tough card for a Gruul deck to beat.
Yeah, yeah.
But also the Dwarven Mind did some work. I recurred it with
It did.
Living End.
It did. It gave you 1 very key chump block turn for the Rotting Regisaur, which allowed you to then make an ooze big enough to actually take the first one down.
Yeah.
So it did do a lot. Your utility lands, even though I was making fun of you for them, are pretty sweet.
When you play 27 lands, you've got a little bit of room to play.
You do, yeah. Yeah, you draw plenty of them.
Yeah.
The
mana base is surprisingly stretched because we have Red Cavalier and Biogenic Ooze.
Yeah.
So that is a little awkward. That's why there's a Rugged Highlands. But
hey, you do what you got to do. The deck looks sweet though. In our deck, it was just a basic aggro deck. Would look a lot better with my 1-drops, but I mean, it was still a close one. Looks like we'll have time for 1 question if you got one there before we get to our game 2.
I do. We had a question from Nermain Drew about does Esper Hero still seem viable to you? The card quality still seems there, but it hasn't come together for them. Do you think that more like different colors of hero decks, such as the Bant hero deck you played on Tuesday, Ross, more direction to go?
Yeah, I think Bant is probably going to be better than Esper, in part because Hero plays so well with Oko, gives you all these 1/1s to turn into 3/3s.
Yep.
In part because Oko is just so good, and in part because Esper losing to Fairy Hero of Dominaria is really big. Like they played like a more controlling mid-range deck where Hero is a value card, and it was their one source of aggression in control mirrors and against things like Nexus of Fate decks. So they really wanted that card advantage, and they don't really have a suitable replacement.
No, I mean, you can go the Elite Guard Mage Bolus's Citadel plan still, but it's just not as good now that Teferi is gone, because not only was that the card that kept you churning through your Bolus turns, but it was also your source of removal to put stuff on top. So losing that, Teferi is the glue that held together Esper Hero, and without it, I don't think the deck, it's definitely not going to be a tier 1 deck, I mean, unless it's built in a completely different way, but yeah, I like the looks of a Bant Hero deck a lot more, but yeah, that Bant deck just could be good just on the power of the 3-mana Planeswalkers. I don't even know if it necessarily has to be a Hero deck, but Hero adds some value to that as well.
Yeah, I've seen some Bant ramp decks that are really just focused on casting those Planeswalkers on turn 2.
Yeah.
So they play Arboreal Grazer and Gilded Goose.
Yeah.
So just 8 1-mana accelerants, 8 3-mana broken Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
And then ramp spells, Hydro Crisis, Growth Spiral, things like that.
I'm not a huge fan of putting a Arboreal Grazer into my deck, but other than that, that sounds pretty sweet.
I'm a pretty big fan of putting Arboreal Grazer into my decks.
What are you talking about? I cast way more Grazers than you did yesterday or last game with my red-black aggro deck.
Well, I was just rolling in Grazers. So,
Yeah,
you know.
I was getting your bad draws out of the way.
Yeah.
Robber the Rich was perfect for you.
Yeah, I needed to make land drops. I didn't have them.
Yeah.
You took my Grazers, so I had lands. It was great.
And then I got you to your Blast Zone.
I did. I had the Blast Zone. But
Okay,
I needed a third land.
That's fair. Okay,
Really
moving to game 2 here. Our hand has red cards and all black mana, so I'm going to mulligan.
Okay. Well, this hand is a little bit slow on the draw, but it can come out really powerfully on turn 4. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to keep it. If we draw something to do on turn 2, either Wildborn Preserver, just trade for a creature, or Lava Coil a creature, this hand is going to be excellent. If not, then we got a chance of just falling pretty far behind.
All right, and we hope that happens. So let's try our 6 here. Okay, this is already looking better. We got lands and spells. If we look at our hand here, there's one key thing where we may have a little bit too much, and we got 2 of these. I don't know if they're necessarily needed for 2, so we're going to put that on the bottom, and we're going to start with the most powerful card, Gutter Bones.
Nice.
Your turn.
Even an Arboreal Grazer would be great here.
Yeah.
Fortunately not coming, but I will gain a life. 21.
21, you're
See?
winning.
Already stymied your aggression.
Impressive. All right, we're going to be stealing your riches here. Grazer. Oh, that
could
one
be a
might be
good one.
better. Yeah.
I'll go to 17.
Your turn.
That one could be good. And yep, no early play here, unfortunately, so just pass.
Yay. We like no early plays. Okay, now we got a question that I'm not even sure what we want to do, because we could draw something off the top of your deck that might be nice. So we're going to start with a Fervent Champion. We're going to get in there.
For 5.
Yep. Fires.
I will go to 12.
Okay, so you go to 12. I will take 2 and pass it to you.
Brings you to 18.
Yep.
You have a giant in your hand. That's not good.
I'm not
I think
telling.
I think we're getting run over this game. I've not drawn any interactive cards. Maybe this was supposed to be a mulligan in the matchup. Cast Fertile Footsteps.
Okay.
Just Rampant Growthen. And I'll get a forest and pass the turn.
My Giant's heading on an adventure. Take 2.
I'm a 10.
All right. Untap. I could Fires of Invention this turn. I could be the Fires deck. Okay. Now we're going to attack. Attack for 5. Ooh, I do get to play that, don't I?
I will go to 5.
Yeah.
Player cast.
You don't have your Blast Zone now.
You want to pop it?
Maybe not. Okay. So you're at 5.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Fires of Invention. And I think... God, okay, so I can cast... I have options now. I can either cast Bone Crusher Giant or either of these 2 cards. This seems quite good right now. I don't really want to cast this because I will have to discard... But it is just a 7/6, but maybe I don't even need a 7/6 at the moment.
So apparently, Mingucci is here and he says you can't play lands, Corey.
Oh, you can't.
Does it say cast? Or
You
play?
need to cast that card.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, Mangu. He is the expert with this deck,
Okay.
so that actually doesn't change my my play too much because I'm still only able to play 1 creature anyways. So I think we're just going to go with the Crusader here. Not positive on this play. I'll pass it to you.
I'm at 5.
Yep.
Don't know if we have a draw that gets us back into this.
I mean, Stormfist Crusader is still sick here because I can pump with Fervent Champion and it deals 1, but Rotting Regisaur would be good as well, but I didn't want to have to just discard this.
I have fires into Cavalier this turn, but I just haven't drawn anything, and this wasn't fast enough against a very strong opening on the play.
Yeah,
Probably supposed to be a mulligan on my part.
that's fair.
Don't think I can just on the draw and not do anything until turn 4.
Yep, probably. All right, you go, Mangu. This deck is sweet.
Okay. We are going to take a short break, and we will come back and do some sideboarding, and we'll finish this match between Rakdos Aggro and Gruul Fires.
All
Don't
right.
go anywhere. And welcome back to Sideboarding. Here playing Gruul Fires against Rakdos Aggro. On my side, we've got our anti-aggro card, Flame Sweep. Should match up pretty well against the creatures in Corey's deck. Give us a nice thing to do to set up our Fires turn.
No, this doesn't say deals 6 damage to target dinosaur. I don't think that will. No, I'm just kidding.
we'll block rotting Regisaur just fine.
You're right. If you get all 3 of them, it will take down all of my creatures. You're right.
Figured it out.
Got him.
I'm cutting my Escape to the Wilds. I think I need all of my expensive cards to have an immediate impact on the battlefield.
Yeah.
This is a really nice source of card advantage in matchups that are going to go long. My cards are generally going to outclass Corey's given enough time. So this card I think is more of a liability. So a nice easy swap here. Just lower my curve, give myself some more interaction, and hopefully survive and start casting my big boom booms.
Okay. Seems smart. So mine is a little more complex. On the draw, I think Robber of the Rich just in general gets a lot weaker, especially when you have an Arboreal Grazer to brick wallet, and you can actually dump your hand pretty fast with Grazer. So you just get Robber of the Rich will still get a card if I have less cards, but you get to block, and Grazer allows you to dump your hand faster. So I don't think it's as good. As well as Fervent Champion, when you're going to bring in stuff like Flame Sweep, I think it is just probably the weakest card in the deck in general. And I want to go a little bit more controlling here. Noxious Grass to deal with Biogenetic Ooze. That card seems like a definite problem for me. As well as Living Twister, it seems okay. Can also get those Grazers out of there if I need be,
Don't underestimate Arboreal Grazer.
The chat would like me to remind you that it's not biogenetic, it's biogenic ooze.
Oh, it's biogenic?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Whoops. Thank you, chat. And then I got 2 Duress here as well. Duress is a card that I probably wouldn't bring in on the play because I'd want to be more proactive. But since I'm going to be on the draw, trying to deal with your Flame Sweeps and deal with some of your bigger things, I want to hedge on that. And then Rankle. I think Rankle maybe just should be in the main deck. I think the card's insane, but I think it's a good sideboard option. Flying is just a good mechanic against your deck, it seems, as well as being able to maybe strip you of your last big card at some point, or even keep refilling my draws. So yeah that's what we're going to do.
I'm good at dealing with cheap flyers. I have Wildborn Preserver has reach, Arboreal Grazer has reach, and I've got a couple opportunistic dragons. But the 3/3 body gets a little bit more problematic. It'll trade for a dragon. It'll take me some time to get a preserver bigger than it, and obviously just runs straight through Arboreal Grazer, which is unfortunate.
Could make you sacrifice an Arboreal Grazer. That's nice, right? All right, do we got any questions while we're shuffling up for our third game?
Yes, Corey, during the early access event the other day, what was your most impressive deck you played?
Oh, Abzan. Abzan mid-range for me with Tolsmir and Garrix, similar to just the week 1 deck that I played. I mean, that was just the deck I immediately thought was just going to have such great synergies, and it did not disappoint. I went 14-2 with Abzan mid-range, and that's without getting a sideboard. Abzan colors have such an unreal sideboard. You get D-Sparks, Devote Decree, Noxious Grass, Autumn or Veil of Summer. Just phenomenal cards post board. So I think that deck's only going to get better when we go into best of 3. So
people are messing around in the graveyard. You can play Kaya. It's also good against some aggressive decks.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like in an Abzan deck sideboard. I agree.
Yep.
Do you think that this format is going to end up more mid-rangey, or do you think we're going to see a decent mix of everything?
I think we'll see a decent mix of everything. Like Andre Mangucci's Red Blacklist here is a great aggressive deck that's going to give a lot of decks some problems. Now, the flip side of that, these maybe blue-green or Bant ramp decks are going to give my Abzan deck a big problem, and then Abzan's going to give this deck a big problem. So I think we are still going to see a nice little rock, paper, scissors type metagame where we have a good mid-range deck, good aggressive decks, as well as our over-the-top decks are going to be ramp decks.
Yeah.
And they're still going to be good. Hydroid Crisis is still good. Voracious Hydra is, if anything, still good, if not better now. That card is just unbelievable.
Another nice card with the Great Henge, too.
Yeah.
Powerful card, gets an extra counter on it, so you can maybe fight something that you wouldn't otherwise.
Yep.
And the extra 2 mana, so it's really 2 extra counters.
Yep. And yeah, my brother and our colleague here at StarCityGames.com is playing a blue-green style deck that we talked about on our podcast, and he's just super high on it, and I think the list seems awesome. He's playing Wicked Wolf in there, just recognizing that card is just unbelievably good, as well as Oko with Gilded Goose. So there's going to be a lot to do in Standard and a lot of different play to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to see a pretty diverse format, but a very powerful one.
All right, great questions. Keep them coming in. Keep tagging at SCG Tour. And now you are on the play, correct?
Yep.
All right.
And this hand is much too slow. All 4s and 5s.
All right. This hand is okay. We have a decent amount of disruption, maybe even borderlining at too much disruption. But we got a good enough mixture of lands and spells I'm going to keep. Okay. Got another question? Will Ross mulligans to 5? I mean, to 6?
Yeah, we'll start those 5.
Yeah, start those 5 chants, please.
How big of a hit do you think Control in general takes without the Fairy Hero Dominaria in the format?
I think a big hit, and not only is that a big hit because of it's such a great card, but Control is just always in a bad spot week 1. Like what we're in the early stages of Standard, because there's so much to deal with. There's so many good decks. There's ramp decks, aggro decks, great mid-range decks. You don't know exactly what to play around. So, you know, for the Shaheen Saranis of the world and all the other diehard Control mages, I would leave it at home until we get a little bit more of a defined metagame here after Mythic Championship 5 here in California. I'm not sure exactly where it is. I'm not going, so.
Yeah. My big thing for Control, actually, you know, you really want to be Esper colored because you want Thought Erasure Kai's Wrath, right?
Yep.
And I don't think the mana works very well for Esper and for those 2 cards in Esper because you don't have access to 8 temples in that color combination. You'll only get Temple of Silence. And so you're going to be relying on Fabled Passage, and that's going to put several basic islands in your Kaya's Wrath deck.
Yeah.
That's a problem. You know, the old Esper Hero decks maybe played 1 island, but I think often just had a swamp and a plains.
Yeah.
So they were very good at if they wanted to be controlling, that is. And, you know, they had so many dual lands that the mana worked.
Yeah.
Now, you know, Fabled Passage, I don't think lets you it doesn't help you enough for cards that are that restrictive on their cost, like Kaya's Wrath. So you have to look for something else. And, like, you know, as the metagame narrows, you can probably find something, but as Corey said, in the early days when things are more wide open, you need to be playing the really powerful cards, and I don't think the mana works for them to be playing the powerful cards.
And you need to be playing them on time, and especially Control decks need to be playing your 4-drops on turn 4, and when you have to play, you know, a bunch of temple lands and stuff, that's pretty bad for Control. Like, it's fine for an Abzan mid-range deck that's trying to ramp into stuff, and it actually wants to scry because the cards are so powerful and so impactful, but against Control, I mean, there's multiple times when you need to Kaya's Wrath the turn that you have 4 mana, not play a tap land.
Yeah.
How's your 6?
6 is quite solid. We don't have any ramp, so I think we'll put the expensive card on the bottom.
Okay.
And just start on a Rugged Highlands 21.
God, you're always starting on 21. How lucky.
You're up.
Okay, we'll draw here. Drew a decent card. Our hand is a little heavy. So now the question is, what do we want to do here? I think I would just like to start getting the beats down. Your turn.
The beats.
The beats are coming. That Ebon Legion is a phenomenal 1-drop.
Pass the turn.
All right.
So, Ross, you're playing the tapped gain land here. What is it that makes you want to play that? Obviously,
Set for 1.
It's due to colors you have, but like, what is it that tips you over that edge to play one?
So, hold on. Flash in a 2/2 block.
Oh, well, pretend I played a land. I'll I'll deal 2 to that before you block.
Sure. 20.
Okay.
So the life gain land here, the major motivating factor is the tension between Biogenic Fuse and Cavalier of Flame. They're both very color intensive cards. So I thought you really needed an extra dual land. The first copy has some value. You don't have a lot of 1s in this deck, so you can play a tap land on turn 1 pretty easily. And sometimes you can just bounce it with a Living Twister.
Yep. No, I think you just have to. I think plain and simple, what you're trying to say is just the mana base is bad. You know, you just straight need it to be better.
I'll just bounce it with a Living Twister. So gain a life a turn. Nice aggro deck.
Yeah.
Doofus.
All right. Well, we're gonna miss our land drop here, which is not
That
ideal.
also means night is not coming in.
Yeah. Night is not. Well, night might be coming in.
Good
All
enough.
right. We're gonna bring night in. We're gonna kill this, and then attack for
21.
1. But we're not beating down a lot here, so
I'll go
this
to
is a little
19.
brutal. Your turn. Now, there's a certain card we don't want to see here.
Is that Fires of Invention?
Probably.
Well, I do not have it. So you
Okay.
can go.
Good. All right. So finally, we hit our land. So we're gonna play this and attack. Okay, just one.
18.
Should have 18, and now we have plenty of options. We can either play Bone Crusher Giant. We can play the stuff from our hand here. I think we just have to go this. I'm really wanting to cast this, but I just don't think we have an option to right now. So we're gonna Spectacle in this. Your turn. Plummet. Got the plummet.
I think we have to get this down, and
Okay.
hopefully we can draw something to pump it,
Okay.
and that counts. I will play Living Twister and put 2 counters on this,
Okay. Sounds great.
and let's pass the turn.
Does have reach, huh?
Does have reach. It's going to do some blocking.
Okay, so
reach was life.
upkeep.
So
Yep.
you're at 20. I'm at 17.
Yep. Draw. Not a bad draw. I think we just have to deal with that Preserver. I need to be able to attack here. So yeah, we'll just Murderous Rider, send that on an adventure. I'll go to 18 and then attack for 4.
I will go to 13.
Okay, and then counter. Your turn. All right. This card, if we take a peek at my hand, this card I have been not able to use to its fullest here, but not much we could do with how the turns have played out. It's much more important to get down your threats here, as well as our draws have been a little awkward with these, but they should be good at some point.
We are in an awkward spot. Corey's had a lot of removal this game.
I'm red-black, man. Rakdos kills creatures and faces.
This is a weird game in that, like, I'm lacking the top end now. I kept a 3-lander, put the 5-drop on the bottom, and all of my cards have matched up well against Corey's low end, and instead you just had removal and your high end cards.
Yeah.
So
And that is kind of what I
haven't lined up
sided
very
into,
well.
so it's kind of a weird give and take, because if I stay low ball and you flame sweep me, it's brutal, but yeah, if I just try to go over the top.
we would have a nice play here if that knight didn't grow last turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would just
Flame sweep
yeah,
and-
flame sweep and
yeah.
Living Twister and things.
I kind of figured, yep.
As is, I guess we just play land and pass the turn.
Okay, upkeep, trigger.
So I gotta-
17 to 12.
Yep.
All right, draw. Now, do I want to get in there with Bull so you can return, shoot? You can return 2 and shoot twice. So you can deal 4. That's pretty good. I think I'm going to make you do it. So we'll attack. Make you have it.
So I can block with Living Twister. That'll force Corey to pump, but then I'll lose my Living Twister. And that'll be a 5. Exactly, yeah, that'll be 6 toughness.
Well, that'd be kind of rough for me, right? Because you could bounce 2 lands in response and double shoot it. I mean, that's a lot of resources, but might be worth it to time walk you.
Yeah, then I would have a really tough time,
Yup.
you know,
Yeah, I think
dealing
you
with
do
that
have to
spawn at
pick
that point.
Yep.
Well, I would basically be on draw Lava Coil or bust.
Yep.
I guess I could rip land,
Mhm.
and then but then you just have a bunch of cards in your hand. And, I've taken 8 more damage and 1 off the spawn, so I'll be at 3.
Yeah. Yeah, Spawn's a good card.
It's a tough spot.
Great job to the Italian stallion Andrea Mangucci. This is a cool deck. I'd be curious if you're still in chat, Mangucci, what do you think of the sideboard? Anything you would add or not add?
Yeah, I think I made a mistake not flame sweeping away the knight when it was just attacking for 1 and enabling spectacle here. I would have been in so much better shape had I done that. That's a tough play to make, but...
Well, then I could have pumped, right? Or you just do it before, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what do you think?
I could have done it on my turn.
On your turn, yep.
Yeah. So I don't think I can block this knight, which means I think I am just priced into casting this flame sweep.
Okay.
And...
returning and killing this?
Yeah.
Okay. And then no blocks?
Yeah. Take 2.
Take 2, put you at 10. All right. Then we're going to go with...
Yeah, which means I took an extra point there. It's probably unnecessary.
All right, we'll just bring another one. Your turn. The pain's back.
Well, now I wish I'd blocked with the Living Twister.
Got another one? Oh, nice.
Well.
Okay. All right, so this one's gone. These ones are adventured.
So I'm not blocking with this Living Twister, so I might as well get in there.
All right,
You're
down
15.
to 15.
You
Yep.
can go.
All right. Okay, not a bad draw. Now, what do we want to do here? I'd really love a land. All right, we'll attack. Just for 2.
8.
I think it's time for the giant. Pass to you.
If either of you won the next Envy, would you rather be on an adventure token or a food token?
I think everyone wants to be the food, right? Yeah.
That seems to be the consensus.
Wait, there's an adventure token?
Yeah, they actually have a token in the packs, I believe, that says on adventure.
Oh, just like a little thing you put over your card?
Well, it's like just so it marks another zone for you.
Yeah. I don't know. I do just picture me, like a token of me frolicking through like a hill or something. Just Corey's on an adventure. I'd still rather be food though, because I love food.
What food would you be?
I'd have to pick a type of food. Couldn't I just be like a Corey in a chair, just eating? You know, I'm like gained a bunch of weight and just living my best life, you know?
Okay. Return a land.
Okay.
Close.
Okay.
You can go.
All right. Okay, so that is what we wanted here. We need a land. Now, what do we exactly want to do with it? I think this is probably still the best play into this, because this will get a counter. Yeah, I don't see how that could be bad. Murderous Rider, send out an adventure.
You go to 13.
Attack for 4.
Yep.
4, knight, get a counter. Your turn.
And I'm pretty sure I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stack doesn't run out of gas. Just had 2 Rankies coming down too. I think Rankle's insane. I really want to find a way to put this card in the main deck. In every time I've cast it, you remember the mono black deck, right? Like anytime I cast Rankle, it was just insane. And anytime you have Gutterbones and Rankle, I just think they should, or anytime you have Gutterbones or Rankle, the other should be in the deck. Because it's a perfect card to sacrifice and a perfect card to discard, but
yeah. You know, the card I think I'm missing in this deck is probably my own the giant. What's the red giant?
Bone Crusher Giant. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a way to shoehorn in some removal and some stuff to do early,
and have a big
also
blocker,
being like a relevant card later on.
100%. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of lists with them. I ended up cutting them, trying out Living Twister, which was good. I liked Living Twister.
Yeah.
I kind of want both. So that's a card I would definitely look at, is trying to fit in some of those. Maybe lowering the curve slightly.
Yeah.
Biogenic Ooze looked very good in that game 1. I literally never cast Fires of Invention.
You didn't.
Yeah.
I almost tried to cheat and cast a Fire of Invention, but yeah.
And never really had like a strong ramp curve. I was mainly just sort of playing the mid-range game, but it looked okay doing that. In that third game, I just drew like all my low end, and it didn't really match up that well against you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like had you, in a real game forgotten to play that second land, and I actually got to ambush, that game probably changes a lot.
Oh yeah, probably.
Because then you never get to play your spawns. You're just stuck.
We were getting a question asked. I was just clicking. Yeah. But
and now, like in most cases, you just always play the.
For sure. Yeah.
But outside of like that potential mistake on your part, like my cards just didn't line up that well against you.
Yeah.
I came close to being able to efficiently deal with both threats. I couldn't. I do think if I flame sweep, if I play around the spectacled menace thing or Spawn of Mayhem and just flame sweep on my turn,
Yeah, that spectacle ended up being very important for me because I didn't hit a 4th land drop till that last turn, so that could have been a big deal.
You would have been stuck with 2 spawns, 2 rankles in your hand for a while.
One question I have for you is, what do you think about like Once Upon a Time in a deck like that? I know it doesn't hit Fires of Invention, but it does find you early ramp creatures as well as finds you your bombs. It might be something to consider there. I still don't know the power level of that card, so I'm not saying with all expertise. I'm just generally wondering what you think about it.
I haven't been impressed by Once Upon a Time in general. I don't think there's really space for it, but it seems reasonable.
You don't like stories, huh?
Well, the issue is space is tight because you have to play so many lands. It's a 27 land deck.
Maybe you could cut 2 lands for 2 Once Upon a Times and then cut 2 other spells or something, though. Go a little lower. Cut that blast zone. Yeah.
But that's definitely an option here. I just think it needs a little bit more interaction. I think Bone Crusher Giant is the card to look for. That would help me out a lot.
Sure.
Just deal with that early 1-drop, reasonable body that can trade some stuff. A little bit of extra card advantage. I was a little light on that as well. Like you sort of out card advantage me just with adventure cards.
Oh my god, yeah. Adventure cards, and I mean the deck just has a lot of built-in ways to draw cards. Like I had so much gas in the tank at the end there. I could have cast spells for the next like 4 or 5 turns still, and you were out of gas. I mean, of course your draw didn't line up as well, but that's the thing with these black-red creatures. They're all kind of replacing themselves, or they're 2-for-1s in general by going on adventures. So hats off to Manguchi. I really like this list. It showed it just is a very consistent, powerful deck. I think there is some problems where I don't really like Fervent Champion. And honestly, I'm not even the biggest fan of Robber of the Rich on the draw. I think it's almost always bad. But you need these kind of aggressive elements to be in there. But I do think Rankle should be added. But overall, I think it was a good deck. Let's take one question here, and then we're going to get our second match lined up for you, because now we're going to be playing another Rotting Regisaur deck, but this one's a bit different from Ross's side.
A little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger.
So talking about Robber the Rich, do you feel like it's better than something like Dreadhorde Butcher in the deck?
It's kind of weird, because on the draw, I would say Butcher is better, but on the play, I think Robber the Rich is good, but not being able to play lands off Robber of the Rich is like meaning 50% of the time or 45% of the time you're just missing, and it already feels like it's a stretch if I hit, and then not only do you have to attack again to be able to play that card most of the time, so I'm not a big fan of it, and nor am I the biggest fan of Butcher, but I am a fan of maybe just going a little bigger and playing Rankle. It doesn't have to be a 2-drop for a 2-drop, even though you do want to keep the curve low. But yeah, I just don't know for sure yet. One thing I was impressed, sorry to interrupt you again. One thing I was really impressed with this Bone Crusher Giant seems sweet.
Bone Crusher is just a solid card. Spawn of Mayhem continues to be be good. I've always been skeptical of that card just because...
You've always been skeptical of it?
Skeptical, yeah. Lava Coil still exists, so it's like, it's just sort of a big dumb idiot. But the flying body was hard to contain and put on a lot of pressure, which is what you're looking for in a deck like that. So
I don't think we're seeing a lot of flying in Standard in general. That's one key word. Flying and haste is 2 things that in the streamer event really stood out to me as really, really great mechanics right now.
One thing I'll say about this deck, like it's a ramp deck and it's really trying to go over the top, but because it's playing Fires of Invention, you're not really playing cards that cost 8 or 9 mana. You have one shoehorned in the deck with Beanstalk Giant, which is nice. Never came up in this matchup, but in other ones it certainly would. But you're mainly concentrated at 4s and 5s to take most advantage of Fires of Invention and take that advantage very quickly. And that means like the cards you're playing aren't cards that are at a power level that really dominate the game, which is a little awkward for a ramp deck.
Because you need that.
And it also means that you need to be supplemented by removal, and you don't have a lot of space for removal, and red removal often has holes because it's damage-based. But maybe just Bone Crusher Giant is enough, because it seemed like my problem was you getting underneath me. My creatures were pretty good at stabilizing against aggressive decks, so maybe that's the issue, and Bone Crusher Giant is really just the solution. I still like Living Twister, but I think you probably have to trim that down, maybe 2 copies.
2 copies seems fine.
They're pretty bad at multiples.
And I think it's a little scary to go down on Escape the Wilds, because just those kind of situations where if you went like Bone Crusher Giant into Fire of Invention and Escape the Wilds, like that's just insane. But, I understand in this matchup, I think it is correct to take out. But that is some fear I have, is just green-red decks without any sources of card advantage outside of that card. And a 5-mana card advantage spell is a little rough sometimes. What that deck is really missing is like a very good Planeswalker. Like, it's missing Chandra Torch of Defiance. Like, that would just be insane, But
your card advantage is coming from Fires of, well, not really from Fires of Invention. That's a mana advantage.
It's mana advantage. Yes, free mana. It's not really. So your nut draws are going to be bonkers, but it seems a little too inconsistent to me personally. But especially for week 1, if it's tuned and you know what you're playing against, I think it's going to be a lot better. But week 1, I would avoid personally playing decks like that and lean on decks like this. And let's get real, everyone knows I'm going to be playing Abzan. That deck's the blade. But yeah.
Okay, so that is match 1. We are going to take a 10-minute break here. We got a little setup to do before the second match, and we will bring that one to you, where it's going to be Golgari Henge aggro against a Sultai Fu deck with Dreadhorde Invasion Oko. Nice little combo there, and we'll see how those go. So don't go anywhere.